So I'll just do a quick message, like just with one card for each type. We'll see here. Okay. Well, let's start off with the twin flame. Okay. And so you'll notice that I have to edit the twin flame section out in my other video. But I'm doing that because when a twin flame gets activated, it's waking them up. So, because I can't really find a solution out there in the external, like the Western world. So it puts them on down a rabbit hole, basically, to find the solution, because it grabs your attention, right? It grabs your attention. And so why I'm doing that is so that the twin flames will eventually maybe find human design. Maybe they don't know about human design or Kundalini yoga, right? That's why I'm doing that. It's like I'm leaving out breadcrumbs for them to find me. Okay. Isn't that interesting about parasites, eh, Enoch? I totally agree. Parasites can affect, it's a consciousness. And this is what we're letting go of, these parasites. So there's just a physical representation of parasites, but our greatest parasite is the not self. That's the parasite. That's our mind and our ego. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to pick an ego card. Yeah, I'm going to do an ego card for the twin flames. Because Chiron is activating the Four of Wands, which represents the twin flame, the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy. Okay. So right away, the one of the twin flames will represent the wounded feminine or the wounded masculine. Because remember that the connection happens to bring both parties into balance with themselves. Okay. And you bring the divine masculine and alchemy happens, right? That's what the 37 represents. Isn't that interesting? More synchronicities for us to look at. The moon is in the 37.2. Right? Right here. And this is, it's the gift of tenderness and equality. Equality. Right? It's the shadow of weakness. Tenderness and equality. And what does this mean? What's the tenderness? It's when the masculine energy within you comes together with your feminine energy. This is like your healed masculine and healed feminine energy come together and they conceive. There's a conception that takes place within you. That's the alchemy. And what comes out of you is the divine child or Christ consciousness, you could call it too. And that's what's born. And that's the heart opening, right? The sacred heart starts to open. So that's another part that I see the twin flames doing, right, is activating that sacred heart and Christ consciousness. But these two have to come together in balance. So let's see what ego is dropping for the chaser. Okay. And then let's do that again. What's the ego dynamic that's dropping for the chaser? What about the runner? What about the runner? What about the runner? Way too many. Okay, what's the ego? Opposite. opposition for the chaser. There we go. And what about the runner? Okay. So for the chaser, we have depression, and then for the runner, we have what would other people think. Okay, for this. Right, so this energy twin flames is really about breaking out of not self, breaking out of ego, breaking out of these old identities that are not you. Right? So remember, as twin flames, it's the same soul. Activate it. And it gets activated because the soul recognizes itself. Right? So that means that you come into truth. Right? This is the game plan, is to come into truth. But you both have these egos. And that's what's different about you, are these egos. And these are egos are what has to go. This is the not self. This is what the not self is. That's why it creates so much chaos, right? In terms of each party, it can create a lot of chaos. And the chaos is the purging. Everything has to be purged that's not self within you. So you got Chiron and Venus there during this opposition. So this is going to really activate some old stuff that has to come up, and even maybe past life stuff too, right? So often twin flames have spent past lives together too, so that has to come up. And the beauty of it doesn't have to come up. You don't have to be together, like physically in the 3D realm, for this to happen, because it's all happening at the energetic level, right? In the twin flame connection. So let's look at the chaser first, which is depression. Is depression right here coming up to be released. So this is stuck in a rut. It's a loss, some kind of loss that you haven't gotten over. Maybe a loss from childhood, right? So right away we're looking at, like, maybe you've got abandonment issues, chaser. You got abandonment issues, rejection issues. You connect with your twin flame, and of course you separate because that's part of the process, right? And this can bring up abandonment and rejection. Now, did the twin flame create that? It's because they left. That's why I'm feeling depressed and I feel abandoned. I feel rejected. No, you had this inside you already. You had these issues inside you already where you felt abandoned, where you felt rejected. But no one was able to really trigger it until you met your twin flame. And then they triggered it. Because remember, they're the magnification, a million times magnification of you. You're mirrors for one another. So then this comes up for the chaser. This is coming up for the chaser. So it's Chiron, right? It's going to be really, really deep. Deep wounding. So you can feel exhausted here with depression, and you can fear freedom. You can fear the next step with this ego. So this is an ego identity that's connected to depression. So right away, you never want to say, like, I am depressed, right? I suffer from depression. You've got to really watch your language. Look at it like depression is moving through me right now. Depression is moving through me right now. It's just like a weather pattern that's moving through me. Because remember, you're purging with this opposition. You're purging what's not you. And you're not depressed. You don't need to identify with it or go to a support group about it. It's like it's just something that's moving through you. And the other thing I would say too, because you're dealing with a lot of anger and resentment, all of us, we've got Mars is squaring the nodes of the moon. It's going to bring up buried anger, buried resentment. Well, if you never learn to express your anger in a healthy way, then it's going to come back to the self, right? So you turn it back on yourself, and that's when it turns into depression. So this is what's being released. So what I would say here is like breath work, right? Do a Kundalini yoga meditation. There's lots of breath work, pranayama, breath of fire, all kinds of stuff you can do to release this anger, to release this depression. And don't let the ego and the not self get in there, right? Oh, I'm depressed because, you know, if you're a twin flame and you're not bringing it back to yourself, then your ego's got you focused on them and it's all about them. I wouldn't be depressed if they were here, and that's not true, right? They're a catalyst for you to do that inner work. Okay, so that's the chaser, and then the runner is what would other people think? It's fear of what other people think, and this is South Node 18. The node, right? The Mars is activating the South Node 18. That's judgment, right? I'm fearing other people's judgment of me, right? What would my family and friends and my community think if I actually, right? Because look at the energy that you're in, runners. I doubt a runner is watching this, but maybe they are. Is the karmic. Maybe your karmic relationships or karmic cycles are ending. So this is not just your romantic partner. It could be your friends and your family, your community. Some kind of karmic lesson is being learned. The Wheel of Fortune is moving you forward. It's moving you to a new chapter, right? The South Node is the 18. This is the judgment, right? The judgment, letting that go, letting that go. But what would other people think, right, of this, that I cut particular people out of my life? Maybe I cut my partner out of my life, that I finally separate. I finally look at the expiry date and say, this is expired a long time ago because I want this. I want the Four of Wands. I want the divine counterpart on the other side here, right? But here I'm sticking with this relationship. What would other people think if I did that? They'd think I was a horrible person. The tribe, right? This is who you're worried about, is the tribe. The tribe, what would they think? I'm going to feel ashamed, right? I'm going to feel guilty. That's how the tribe controls people, through shame and guilt. You know, the cross of sleeping phoenix is self first. Runners, it's putting yourself first, and that means your soul goes first, and you need to be okay with that, right? Life's too short to stay in these karmic relationships, especially if you've already learned your lesson. If you're trying to cling on, right? Trying to cling, this is the not self spleen here. It's clinging to relationships that are long over. Right? What will happen is it gets worse and worse and worse. And that's the 2x4 method of learning. Right? Life just starts pummeling you. When are you going to get it? When are you going to leave? Right? When are you going to leave? When are you going to get the self-esteem and the self-love, the Empress energy, to stand up for yourself, the Emperor, right? And go for your happiness. The Four of Wands is happiness. So fear of judgment, fear of rejection, and it's really all coming from you. That's the joke. That's the joke, right? All this fear of judgment and what other people will think if I followed my intuition and my heart and I did something completely radical. I broke a taboo. Well, the joke is that judgment is not really about them. It's about you. It's your own judgment that you're projecting out, right? Remember, it's the second line, 32.2. Judgment, right? It's my own judgment that I'm projecting onto others. Yeah. And to watch this, that all my partners got all the resources that's being projected out, and I'm safe and there's security there, right? It's time to really step into your power. That's what I see there for this twin flame. Okay. The best thing you can do for the planet is to put yourself first, right? It's not selfish. You're putting your soul first. It's selfish to stay in these karmic relationships because you put your little s self first. That means you put your ego first. You're not putting your soul first. That's the true meaning of selfishness right there. You're putting your ego first. You're using that other person, right? You're not whole on to yourself. That's the other side here. So that's what I would say is dig up these relationship wounds. It's 444. That's fun. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay.